Hey everyone, and welcome back to PDA Dad UK. In this episode, I'm speaking to the fantastic Mike Kavanagh from Laybrook.com, who make furniture for accessible furniture for disabled people, and in particular profiling beds, which we will discuss, and also Jade from the Disability Expo. As I say, welcome back to PDA Dad UK. Before I go on, can you go hit like, hit subscribe, and ring the bell? You'll always know when I've got new content coming up. More than that, you'll be helping me punch that 10,000 subscriber mark, which would be a fantastic milestone for myself. So please go do that. As I said before, we are talking today with Mike Kavanagh and Jade, and we're talking about basically disability furniture and products that really aid us in the home, I guess, for those who have disability and even maybe don't. So we'll get into that. So I'll say, welcome, Mike. How are you today?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much. It's great to be on this show. It's great to be around such happy people.
It's all a big disguise, don't worry. And Jade, how are you today?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Fantastic. Jade is part of the Disability Expo, basically one of the key organisers of it, which of course myself and the Grumpy Gits will be at in July. So make sure you are part of that. It's free. Links are in the description and you'll be able to go and sign up to be a part of that. There's so much going on there. So this is a slightly different episode in the fact that obviously we're looking more at sort of product, I guess. Now, I want to establish straight away, this isn't paid for in any way, shape or form, and we haven't been given anything free for it. This is actually based on my experience of purchasing a bed from Laybrook, because my wife's issues with disability have grown substantially over the last 12 months or so, and the difference it's made has been phenomenal. So before we get into all that, Mike, can you tell me, I mean, Laybrook is, what is it exactly you guys do? What do you produce?
Laybrook started about 20 years ago, and we were in the adjustable bed industry, mainly manufacturing just standard adjustable beds to the shops around Bicester and Oxfordshire area. And we got involved with occupational therapists after that, and they wanted beds that looked like normal beds but had all the facilities of a hospital bed, because nobody wanted to have any of these contraptions in their house because they just reminded them of being ill and being in hospital.
Yeah.
So we basically started to design beds that looked like normal beds that had all the functions of an adjustable bed. So that's really where we came from. I mean, during the journey, occupational therapists would always say to us, well, does your bed do this because a hospital bed does it? And back then, they really didn't have all of the accessories that hospital beds would have on our types of beds, the domestic versions. So we designed them, we patented them, we did everything we possibly do to make them as like a hospital bed as possible without them looking like a hospital bed with all those features. Yeah.
I think that's a really key thing. It's a big part of, there was resistance in my home, shall we say, to getting a profiling bed on the basis that we knew it was needed. But like you say, they look so industrial and, to be honest, sort of sanitized. They've got, generally, that's the first thing you think of.
There's a massive association with profiling beds, just to add as well, particularly for an end of life. Like obviously when people get sent home for dying at home, they'll be sent home with a hospital bed. And there's like a negative connotation with that as well. And
my wife hates the hospital. You know, she's there that often.
Yeah.
She doesn't want the reminder, I guess, when we're home. And I certainly don't want to be in a home where it just feels that it feels hospital-like. It's not.
Absolutely. There's enough contraptions. There's enough contraptions out there to make a home feel like a hospital, where when you go to bed, you want to actually feel like you're going to a normal bed.
Exactly. And it's more than that. It's like, if you do have a visitor and they happen to go up to the bathroom and the door's open and they peer in, which, let's face it, people do, you don't want it to, oh, what's going on in there? You know, you just want them to go, oh, that's a nice looking room. And that's what
I like your bed. Where did you buy it from?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That looks really nice. But yeah, it's not like, oh, what the hell's going on in there? You know, what I really liked, obviously, we got told about you guys and ended up speaking to you, and we got to really pick the style of bed we want. And to be honest, when you look at it, it looks like a bed.
Yeah, just looks like a normal bed.
It looks like a nice bed at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a fantastic looking bed. It's a really popular one that you got. It looks, the headboard and everything that goes with it makes it just look like a really stylish normal bed.
It looks luxurious, and I got to say, it's so comfortable.
Good. That's what we like.
I sometimes do consultancy work with Laybrook and help them out on some of their stands, and that's one of the things you find a lot with couples where one person may need the profile feature and they go, oh, I don't need it, and they're like, yeah, just spend a couple of nights with it and you'll be asking for it once you find out how comfortable it is.
I don't know if I should say this. I use the profiling more than my wife does.
Yeah, that
it's so good. Just put the back up, chill back, watch the TV, and
watch TV, read a book. Yeah, it's lovely.
Yeah,
this is one of the things that I say a lot is because of the hospital beds. There is this association with profiling beds being a hospital bed, but even if we take aside the actual physical or clinical need of a profiling bed, the comfort aspect of it, how many people would you speak to now that have reclining sofas in their home? Majority have a sofa that reclines. A lot of people go to bed and watch films and obviously go to bed early or read or something. Like, how many pillows do you have to prop behind your back to sit up comfortably? Even that element of it, being able to sit more comfortably for longer periods for rest and things like that. I think a lot of people then maybe would think that it's a luxury item and it's really high-end price tagged, but I know people that have bought standard bed frames and mattresses in Dreams for double the prices of one of mine.
What I really liked as well was it was made to our specifications. That was something I didn't expect. I honestly went in thinking, well, we'll order and it will be what it is, and it just looks nice. But actually, it even came down to, the different weights between, my wife's quite slender. I'm certainly not.
Oh, you're right. They're all tailor-made to the person's weight and how they like the feel of the mattresses, because we do manufacture it all in-house.
That was the thing that got me, was it was even down to the mattress. So what I found, even because we were looking at beds before we made this decision, and we gone into, I won't mention because I don't want to do it. We went in there, and even with that kind of stuff, it's like, well, actually, the difference is that you get a bed, the mattress it was a, super king size or whatever they call them. The mattress is, you kind of got it. We both get tested for the, where's it fit.
They all do this about mattresses. It's all about the mattress. And don't get me wrong, there is an element of that, of the surface that you're laying on. But with profiling, you can accommodate that and make a more comfortable position for a profile.
Well, not only that, but they're beds that you still then have to compromise on the mattress, because you're going to get one it's got to be both of you on there. And I haven't heard of many places that are doing one. Well, one side's this and one side's that.
Mike's does.
Yeah. It's tailored individually for each person. So if one person is 10 stone, the other person's 15 stone, and you both like a completely different feel of mattress, they're made individually for each side. And that's what we call a dual bed. So you have individual controls, so you're not both on at exactly the same level. If you profile the back of the bed up and if you profile the legs up, you can have your individual settings on there as well. Yeah. And that makes a massive difference, because one person may have a lot different medical conditions or no medical condition compared to the other person. So being able to adjust it to suit your needs makes a huge difference.
We do have different sleeping needs. So I actually do have sleep apnea. I have what's called severe obstructive sleep apnea. I can remember when I had to go for the old sleep study a couple of nights in a hospital. This was way back when, but yeah, just sleep normally, and then they attach 7,000 wires to your head.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Feeling like the Hellraiser. It turned out that I was getting less oxygen in my sleep than I would have done standing at the top of Everest because of my sleep apnea.
Wow.
So I have a CPAP machine, which I have to use. But what I found is that, it was that thing of propping myself, getting myself comfortable was really important. I need to sleep on my side, because obviously that opens up the airway. It's caused by a very soft palate, not just weight related. It's actually something I've had all my life. So I have to sleep on my side, because that is the best position for the palate to be open and allow you to breathe in the night. But what I found is that I used to have seriously 3 or 4 pillows positioned around to do whatever. And I got hold of a really, really nice pillow now, which is designed to aid sleep and all that kind of stuff. It's a big scientific design thing, which we're sort of checking out. I'm using that pillow and that pillow alone with the profiling bed. It's just great. And it's because I can relax. I do prop myself up at night. We can watch, and I don't need to have spare pillows that I need to then find where to put when I'm going to sleep.
Yes. When you sleep on your side, do you sleep on your side, and do you actually have the bed adjusted as well?
No, actually, this is something I tested it. So I did some tests at home on my own sort of thing.
Yeah.
I did have it for a little bit where the legs were slightly raised, But I found that actually I ended up with a situation. It was kind of like with the legs raised a little bit like so. My feet were sort of hanging.
Yeah, that's right. But what you should maybe try is if you raise the back of the bed up slightly and raise the legs up slightly, it actually creates somewhere for your hip to go. Because that's what the majority of mattresses are trying to do. They're trying to allow the hip to sink into the mattress, so that keeps your spine straight. But in fact, when we do tests of people in the showroom, when you raise the feet up and you raise the back up, that creates that little dip for your hip anyway. And most people find it really, really comfortable. So just try that and
do that tonight.
see how you get on.
The difficulty I had maybe is that my body's just that I'm shaped like a bullet, not a hourglass, if that makes sense. I look like a cartoon character from the Flintstones. Is that sort of...
Well, you can adjust it to whatever position your body is.
I would test that on the basis of you suggested, and I would do that. Yeah, so I found that my sleep's dramatically improved. Even getting to sleep, I'm finding myself falling to sleep more easily. Yeah, like a happy side effect, if you like, of having to have done this. So, I mean, obviously we did this because my wife really did need it. And we were looking at the big thing for us was my wife was going to be getting a stoma. The reality of having a stoma was that my wife would have to be sleeping on her back. You can't sleep on your side with a stoma because obviously it creates issues with where it's placed. And so we were looking at, well, how do we make sure that you're upright? And my wife also has other conditions. So she's got fibromyalgia and she's also epileptic. But this arthritis that's now cropped in is another big factor in there. And I think they all sort of inform each other, really. But the reality was we needed something that meant that she could sleep without being tempted to roll onto her side in her sleep, because there's something you do unconsciously. And profiling beds were the obvious answer, because you can set it up so the legs are at a comfortable position. You can set it up.
Well, if I can just interject there, Duncan, the reason for that is something called the semi-Fowler position. That's what the bed puts you into when you raise the back of the bed up and you raise the feet up. And it's rather like a bucket seat in a car. But if you tilted the bucket seat on its back, then it sort of puts you in that sort of curved position. And you've actually got your feet and your head raised slightly above your heart, and that's the optimum position for your circulation. So generally, when you are sleeping on your side, after about 10 or 15 minutes, you start to restrict the circulation into the arm that you're laying on. And sometimes you might have woken up and had pins and needles or a dead arm when you've woken up, or into the leg that you're laying on. Now, there is a part of your brain which actually stays awake to regulate your body when you're asleep, and that will wake you up just enough to tell you to turn to allow blood to flow in and out of different parts of your body. But when you're actually on your back and you've got your feet and your back raised up in this profiled position, because your weight has been distributed evenly along the length of the bed, you've got no pressure points and your circulation's going around better than in any other position. Your brain realizes this, and it doesn't have to wake you up every 10 or 15 minutes to tell you to turn to allow blood to flow in and out of different parts of your body. And that's why you should be getting a much better, more deep, restful sleep on one of these beds. It's not just for people who do have medical conditions, as Jade said earlier on. In fact, younger people, and that's what, a lot of our market is actually towards the younger disabled person, because they want to have a nice looking bed. So we do oak beds and we do leather beds and TV beds and all sorts of things, beds like that with the adjustable features in there.
Actually, I really want to take it one step further to the point that anyone would have a profiling bed.
So many products that we use every day are actually originally designed for disabled people, and then they become, that's useful for everybody. But I mean, realistically, something that I think is maybe another area that people don't think about, neurodivergent people. People who've got neurodivergent kids in particular, sleep is a big issue. So a lot of neurodivergent kids won't be able to produce melatonin naturally. They have to have a melatonin supplement because otherwise they won't get.
Or if they're on stimulant medication, that can cause problems with sleep.
Absolutely, ADHD meds in particular can be really big with that. But for these people, it's like I know from my daughter, she's on a slow release now, but it's a pill. If you're having a slow release melatonin, it has to be in pill form. A lot of neurodivergent kids, autistic kids in particular, won't take pills. You have to have a liquid. Liquid is by its nature can't be long lasting. It doesn't have a coating.
Yeah.
So you're only going to get the effect of it in that initial period where they're getting to sleep, where they're, it's
right. Yeah.
one of those things that you just mentioned there that I thought, well, that's such a fascinating thing, is if there was a bed set so that you're not having to roll in the night, so your brain's not waking you that bit, because that was the issue we used to have with my daughter. It'd be great for the first couple of hours, and then she'd roll over and she'd need to wake up, and she'd get up,
wake up fully,
and you wouldn't get her back. It's one of
For
those
you, Duncan, though, I would imagine you're definitely going to get up anyway during the middle of the night, because obviously at men of our age, we need to go to the loo. So
I don't know what you're talking about. My prostate's fantastic. Shut up.
Cure that. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I really think it's one of those things that, because it's an affordable option, and I think that's what people don't realise. I was certainly surprised that I think we spent, it was about equal to what we were looking to spend through, traditional bed supplier.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's because we actually manufacture it and sell it direct. We don't now sell any to the shops. So we go direct to the end user via the internet 95% of the time. And that keeps the cost for us down, and obviously the end user down.
For specialist beds, you offer home assessments as well, don't you, Mike? So
absolutely. We do a couple of really, really specialist beds.
Particularly with adults with neurodivergency and stuff. One of the products that Laybrook have is they have a chair bed. So sometimes there's a reluctance for some people to even go to bed, or potentially like living spaces and stuff. So they actually have a bed that is a chair and a bed in itself. They also do a settee bed as well. So for people that potentially, with younger families that potentially have maybe a holiday home or something like that, they've got a settee that can go into the lounge of like a caravan or something like that.
Well, let's face it,
profiling.
I went to see my brother over Christmas and had to drop him back at his place. And I'd never seen his place before, and he's in the middle of London. And so for the price is there, he's basically got a bed set. It's one room with a kitchen at one end. And having something like that, like it's not a sofa bed, but actually a proper bed that also doubles as a sofa.
As a sofa, when people stay
there, for people who are in restricted space like that as well.
Absolutely. It's like having another bedroom in the living room, isn't it? Because it is a bed.
That's what he's got, And
just to touch on as well, with regards to what you were saying about waking up with neurodivergence, there's a very, very strong study link with proprioceptual feedback and better sleep quality, especially for people on the spectrum, because obviously when you've got your surface gives you full contact, it makes your muscles relax naturally. Whereas obviously if you don't have full surface contact or proprioceptual feedback to know where you are in space, naturally you can go into hypertension and your muscles contract, and that obviously is the thing that keeps you awake more often. So having something like a profile where it actually fits to your body shape, you're having better surface contact and will reduce muscle tone and also give that sensory feedback, which a lot of people do crave. So things like weighted blankets are quite a common used thing for children with autism and even ADHD, etc. But then what about if we're thinking about what they're laying underneath as well? Because we're all, particularly younger children, are usually predominantly smaller in frame anyway, and there'll be a lot of dips and gaps that are not getting surface contact on. So
not only that, like people talk about like weighted blankets, but you can't sleep with a weighted blanket. It's actually dangerous to do so.
Okay.
Compression blankets and stuff like that, which are
they're like the stretchy ones that go around.
They're tight. But exactly what you're saying is that you really shouldn't be sleeping with a weighted blanket.
Is that anyone or just children?
I think it's anyone. I think it's to do with the weight distribution of the blanket. It actually creates issues. I'm not sure of the science of it, but I do know they don't recommend sleeping with a weighted blanket. It's normally supposed to be designed to, like you say, a proprioceptive response to give you that calm at the moment, reduce the anxiety. Compression blankets can be used overnight, but the reality is that exactly what you're saying, like if there's a solution, then it's actually the support side of it. They're going to get that same feedback. That's really important thing. It's opening a fascinating area. Sleep is a huge thing for a lot of autistic people, but kids in particular, and by proxy for parents of autistic kids and neurodivergent kids.
They need their sleep too, yeah.
We went through living hell for years simply because of sleep patterns. And if there are solutions out there that are, able to be done. And the other side that people don't think about, I think, is that you can often get these things funded.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there are
Jade
places
knows
like,
quite a bit about the funding side of it. But just going back to one thing that you were saying about the feedback of support of your body. When you are laying flat, the reason why most of us don't really sleep in bed on our back is because we all have a gap in our lower spine. So where the spine curves.
the dip in the back that you see.
Your lumbar.
Yeah, your lumbar. So, and also when you lay flat on a surface, you've got a gap underneath your knees, where your knees got that need that support. So when you raise the back of the bed up and you raise the feet of the bed up, the knees of the bed, that takes away those gaps, and that's what actually allows your muscles to relax fully. It's because the bed's taking the full weight of your skeleton. So they relax and the blood flows through better, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier on, that full support and the feedback to your brain to say that you are properly supported.
Something that leads into a really interesting area, because I think that sleep is something I don't think is focused on enough in general. We're in a situation now where mental health is being discussed everywhere, because we've been through a long period of time where people have been shut off, and mental health for a lot of people is at an all-time low, and they're getting back into normal life or whatever that represents. But I know that I'll talk from my wife's perspective on this, but I've had her permission to do so. But when she's low with her mental health, so she's bipolar, and there are periods where she'll have real dips. Sleep's nigh on impossible. The brain's just functioning, and it makes me think that once she's asleep, not needing to wake up for anything is key. Like all these things that you're talking about, if your butt muscles are naturally relaxing into a position, I think that the onset of the benefits to mental health that are achieved from good sleep and healthy sleep, good sleep hygiene, I think is the phrase that's used. With that in place, I think it's something that's an uncharted area of mental health in general that really needs to be looked into further.
Do you know what's interesting? Maybe you'll know a bit about this, Duncan, as well, because disturbed sleep is one of the biggest cause for a dip in the immune system. So having a disturbed night's sleep, it causes 70% reduction in your natural immune system. So for people potentially that struggle with sleep, potentially children on the spectrum, for example, or neurodiverse, do you think that if you looked into the stats of it, there's a higher level of illness potentially because of the disturbed sleep patterns? Because
I think it would go on to a few things. I think that's very possible. I'm not an expert on that side of it, so it's only what I can observe. But obviously, there's a link between.
Well, no, there definitely is with mental health, but also physical health as well.
Yeah, but that's what exactly. So that also, there's a definite link between neurodivergence and often a weakened immune system.
I think it's about your whole life and feeling during the day, isn't it? If you've had a bad night's sleep, you just don't feel good the next day. You wake up and you feel tired and lethargic, and your brain doesn't work as well. Your body doesn't work as well. And we all woke up one morning and we've had an amazing night's sleep, and then you wake up and you go, "Wow, I can take on the world."
Take on the world.
You know what? Billy Connolly has sleep apnea, and he said he never realised he had sleep apnea till he'd had a good night's sleep.
That's what my friend says. Exactly the same thing. She didn't realise how badly.
I was the same, and I recognised it.
Because when you have sleep apnea, you don't realise you're not actually getting restful sleep. She was like, "Why am I feeling tired all the time?" And now she's got a cat mask. When she remembers to wear it, I might add, my friend, she's like, "Wow, I feel like I have so much more energy." And it's like, well, it's because you're actually sleeping.
But Billy Connolly likened it to the woman who was married to a drunk but didn't realise till one night he came home sober. Oh, that's it. That is bang on. That's how it feels. But but I think that there's another side to it as well, that an associated thing with raising neurodivergent kids in particular is that you get the behaviours that challenge. And we know, I had a bit of a rough weekend. I didn't get a lot of sleep for various reasons, not to do with the bed. I was grumpy as hell on Sunday, and I could feel it. I could sense that I was snappy and I was cross. And
you feel the tension in your muscles and everything when you're like.
It is. It's when you're dealing with the neurodivergency as well, they get those behaviours that challenge, which are only going to be exacerbated by bad sleep.
Yeah.
And so if there's a solution there, if we can improve sleep, I wonder how much we'd see the behaviours that challenge reduce because they're simply getting a good night's sleep.
What I forgot to get you on your bed or sell you on your bed was the massage system. So if you had a massage system, on the bed in the morning, when you did wake up that morning, you could have had
mention that.
15 minutes of massage, and that would have relaxed you a little bit more, I think.
Oh, damn it. Oh,
I missed that one.
I'll have to look at it. I'll have to look at that for the future. It'll be an important, it's an investment. The one thing I really liked as well is that obviously the measurements of the bed were really key. We needed a certain height. Really what it was about was that if particularly when we were looking at it from the fibro at this point, we weren't aware of the arthritis that was there, and that's obviously come into play now. But we were looking at the fact that she needed to be able to basically, the bed can help her elevate herself, but then she can swing her legs around and they touch the floor. The bed is the right height. And that was a key factor. You do a lot of that to ensure that the actual dimensions of the beds really work.
Absolutely, yeah, because it is key. The height of a bed is much more key to somebody who's got mobility issues than people realise. And just a couple of inches higher or lower will make a huge difference. Some people can't get their legs into bed. Some people find it difficult to stand up out of bed. So having that height, and we do go through a process where we ask the person's height, we ask their knee to the floor to the back of the knee height, so we can design the bed that's going to fill the need for that particular person, not just for anybody.
You've also have some developments on that. So if you've got somebody that potentially can't get in and out of bed, you've also got your turning bed as well, haven't you? Which actually physically turns and gets the person
absolutely
in and out of bed.
That's for people who really can't get their legs into bed. So if they've got lymphedema, lipodema, MS, Parkinson's, things like that. So that's a real specialist product where it literally lifts your legs for you up in the air and the bed turns around and actually drops your legs into bed.
And also assists you with standing out of bed as well. For people that not being able to get out, it brings you up to a stand. It physically tilts and pulls you into a stand position.
Yeah, it's more to keep people in their home. So that's generally, if people haven't got the capability of getting in and out of bed on their own without carers, then this product does allow people to stay in their home for much longer.
It offers independence, and there's a massive issue with carers at the moment, and obviously being able to facilitate carers for people at home on their own, and having a product like yours can keep somebody in home, particularly again referencing younger people with disabilities where they potentially won't be given 24-hour care, but they may need it just to be able to get themselves in and out of bed, for example, and they can't. That reduces care packages, it reduces independence. And one of the quick solutions from a funding perspective is, let's just put this person in a care home. And I'm not being funny, at the age of 20 or 30, why would you want to be in a care home?
There's also lots of people being hoisted in and out of bed, aren't there? Which their dignity is taken away.
It's not even with regards to dignity, because obviously some people have to rely on hoisting, and that's their only method. So obviously doing it in the best way, and obviously get hoists and stuff that could be quite discreet. But the point in your product is the mobilisation key of it, because there is people that potentially are being hoisted but have some mobilisation themselves. Exactly. And you're taking that full mobilisation or that way of being able to get up away by just relying on hoisting. Whereas if we're trying to keep the person as independent, as mobile as possible, you can still build strength, you can still build mobility, for example. It's the term "use it or lose it" that's quite common.
That's exactly what I meant.
Something that people probably don't realise, but it's a more common thing. We didn't actually have a super king size bed or anything like that. We had two singles which we joined, and this was partly because if I roll over, it wakes my wife immediately, and then she struggles to get back to sleep. And the best way to do that was to have two independent beds, if you like, so that it wasn't knocking onto her all the time and shaking her side of the bed if I roll over. This is designed with that in mind already, because the fact is that our bed is two single mattresses, if you like, next to each other, built into the same framework, but because the mechanisms are independent and the mattresses are independent, it solves that problem. I think that's a good place to sort of leave this. Where can people get hold of you if they want to look at your beds and maybe get you guys to consult?
Okay, so it's Laybrook.com. So you go on there, all the pricing's on there. You can build your own bed. That's what it's all about, making the specification to what you want. So you choose the style that you want, you choose the surround, the type that you like, whether it's wood or a divan. You then choose the mattress and we build that for your particular weight. We do all the delivery and installation. That's generally included in most of the beds.
And you're getting in some tight spaces. It's difficult to access.
Happy to do it all the time as well, Duncan. We are over the moon to go to tight spaces and bring them upstairs.
Well, it was. We got a nightmare of a place to get into with walls in the way and the front door and all kinds of stuff. But it was great. We just explained that, and when it got delivered, it was delivered in packages small enough that they could get it up and assemble it.
Yeah, it's all built in the bedroom, so we never have an issue with actually bringing it into any real tight spaces. You have the option
to take the old bed away as well, don't you? Or...
Yeah, absolutely. We take the old bed away. So you just place the order, and then everything from that point on is sorted out for you. You don't have to.
Do you have finance options available?
Absolutely, yeah. There's finance options. You only pay a 20% deposit when you place the order, and then when we deliver it, then either you pay the balance or you have it on finance. So we want you to see the bed. We do a 7-night trial. So as long as it's not bespoke made for you, you get a 7-night trial on the bed. We'll take it back if you don't like it. Once you've tried it within 7 nights, even if it is a bespoke bed, we will give you a 7-night trial on the mattress, because that's one of the most important things that you don't know about. That we can get all the specification correct, but you haven't actually tried the mattress. So we will build the mattress to your specification, and if you don't like it, we will swap it for a firmer mattress, a softer mattress, or even a different mattress. You would just pay the difference in the price from the original bed. That if you upgraded to have a more superior mattress, then you would just pay the difference between that. Otherwise, if you're going for the same mattress and you just want it softer or firmer, we would swap it free of charge.
Well, that's something really interesting as well, because I didn't realize it could even be done. But the mattress I ended up with was one that it's got different firmness towards the edges. It gets firmer again. All links will be in the description for Laybrook beds, so you'll be able to, or Laybrook furniture in general, follow that through. You'll be able to do that, and you can talk to these guys. I believe you're also going to be at the Disability Expo, Mike.
Absolutely, yeah. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be an excellent show at the Excel in London.
6th and 7th of July, and something that we want to get Laybrook and any kind of companies associated around beds as well as involved in is obviously promoting sleep and obviously the importance of sleep. We have got a an interactive home that will be at the event as well, and we're looking to hopefully feature some of your products within the house as well, Mike. Potentially get some interviews from bedpreneurs on your stand as well. So hopefully,
yeah, I've heard of them. That'd be fantastic. Yeah, so we're looking forward. Can't wait to see the big house in the XL. That'd be amazing, just to go around and see all the different products that you've got in there, new and innovative products, I should say. But we were there, and we'll look forward to it, and we'll no doubt look forward to seeing everybody else there.
You'll also be able to see the Grumpy Gits and myself at the Disability Expo. Do go check it out. It's going to be a fantastic event, and we are really proud that we partnered with them for the event. And
the PDA Society, and hopefully have you involved with PDA Dad as well in some way in the sense.
Absolutely. Well, PDA Society, of course, big group next to my heart, a charity that do a lot of good and really helps us, and I now ambassador for. So yeah, absolutely huge.
I thank you, Duncan, for purchasing one of our beds. I'm glad you're loving it, and your wife is loving it. So I shall look forward to seeing you at the Disability Expo in July.
Fantastic. Please do go hit like, hit subscribe, ring the bell. You'll always know when new content's going up. If you've got anything you'd like to ask, or any comments on this, or any advice you've got, please do put it in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. I will see you again on the next episode, but in the meantime, please do stay safe.